The Sentinel is known to be reliable, fearless, disciplined, consistent, courageous, motivated, and skillful.
So do what you feel passionate about. Take chances.
All these qualities start from the mind. Your mind can be your worst enemy or your most powerful weapon.
The world becomes your library to help you to become better at your craft.
Is this the dagger?
Learn how to achieve greatness and tap into the Sentinel mindset.
When we go in, we go in. Well, good morning, everybody. Welcome to this wonderful, wonderful day. We have today a very special guest. We have Suzanna Alsayed from Evolutes, the president and CEO of Evolutes. And we've been communicating with Suzanna right now for a couple of months. Very impressed with what she puts out on LinkedIn. Very impressed what she's doing with her business. And, you know, let's just say girl power, because she is someone right now working in a industry that is predominantly, you know, I guess, run or worked by men. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. But she is an independent, to its demise. But she's an independent, strong, confident woman that has a very clear vision. She has a lot of passion to make something very, very productive for this industry. Ladies and gentlemen, Suzanna Alsayed, how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Amazing. And you look fantastic.
Thank you.
Yeah, welcome. And we were talking about, I guess there's some friendly competition here with the frames, the glasses.
Oh, yes.
Channeling my inner Mike.
Yes. There is. We also have Michael for those. I mean, I always do this. We just kind of go right in. We don't even actually introduce who is Mike.
It doesn't matter.
You got Mike here on the right. Yeah. And of course, Constantine.
Yeah, in the audience of 1,000 people. Hey, guys, what's going on?
Exactly. So let's jump right in.
Let's do it.
Susanna, how are you today on this wonderful day?
I'm good on this wonderful Friday morning.
Yes. Okay.
How are you?
Very good. And you know, I we've had some conversations. Obviously, already we've had a couple of meetings. Mm-hmm. I love your thinking and how you view the industry and all. But before we get into all the fun stuff, I think it's important that people know who you are.
Okay.
So tell us a little bit about you. Who are you?
It's like I feel like I'm interviewed. Tell me about yourself.
No, I know. What's your strengths and weaknesses?
Yes, I know.
Yeah.
I don't stop and smell the roses.
hey.
I know
like
we had that.
Yeah.
So who's Suzanna? Well, first of all, for people that have already worked with me and that know me, I never go off script. So this is like my first time ever just improvising.
Okay.
So
good.
I hope you feel special.
This
is awesome.
Out of my comfort zone.
Yeah, you're going to do well.
Thank you. So I am an ex-rhythmic gymnast turned into an academic enthusiast, I guess. Loved academia, turned into a security professional, now a serial entrepreneur, if we are just summarizing it quickly.
Love it.
Yeah.
That's a really good business card.
Yeah, I know, right?
Can you mention the title?
And so now my focus, as you mentioned, is Evolutes, which is a branding, marketing, copywriting, website design agency that is started off as focusing solely on the security industry during COVID. Was founded in July 2020. Anniversary is coming up.
Nice.
Because everyone was seeing that gap that now we're in COVID, everything is going online, but the marketing materials, the websites was outdated. And
hold on. Are you telling me that the security industry suffered from websites that looked like they were created in the 90s?
Unfortunately.
I don't believe it.
Mike, you're being too kind.
I don't.
I think it'd be more like 70s.
There was no internet in the 70s. Exactly. Well, I mean, for the civilian.
Yes.
I didn't say anything. They said it.
Yeah.
But there was a gap that I found in our industry that needed to be fixed, and I'm trying to fix it day by day, one client at a time, because we, as I like to say, and I've said to you before, we really are good at what we do, but we really suck at talking about it. And I want to be that person that if you have a marketing idea or an event idea, or you want to your social presence, to call Evolutes, because that's what we do, what we want to help with, and we specialize in security. I'm an emergency management and security specialist, so it's not like you have to teach me about what you do. I just come in and I look at your marketing strategy instead of like, oh, so what do you do? What is a camera? What is a CTV? Whatever. It's just like, okay, cool, I know what you do, I know how it looks like, I know why you're doing, what kind of market target you have, and so how do we market that?
Yes, it's almost like a makeover, right?
It is,
In a way.
rebranding.
Yeah.
Well, look, you've been around the world, okay, and you've seen a lot of security infrastructure from Dubai to New York to Toronto. When you look at how security is observed or viewed or presented or branded in other countries compared to like what you see here in Toronto, is there comparisons?
That's a good
like,
question.
Are we
Yeah.
behind
Absolutely.
here?
Oh, I don't know if we're gonna say about behind,
Yeah.
but I like to call myself an international butterfly of a mixed background, lived in different places. I'm fortunate enough to speak several languages. I see that wherever you are, you have to adapt and be like a chameleon, because how you would market in North America would be different in Europe. How you market in Europe would be different in the Middle East. Same thing with Asia. They have their own ethics, their own cultural approach, their own language, the really like specific things that they like to do. So if you come in, for instance, with a North American mentality to Middle East, and you're not respecting their customs, then there's no business relationship. You have to go there and be like, study them, understand their approach. In Middle East, they like to meet face to face. Like an online approach is not really something like welcomed, I would say,
So
for
they-
lack
so
of
they
a better
don't-
word.
So Zoom isn't doing well in the Middle
No,
East,
but
yeah.
it's like here, we're like Zooming and we're like, okay, cool, I've met you online, I've met you.
Yeah.
But there needs to be a few face-to-face meetings, test out the waters, understand your approach, your body language, your demeanor, the way you speak. It's very specific. So, but in regards to security, how we're viewed, once again, the threats that are happening in the Middle East and Europe are much different than we have in North America, especially in Canada. So we don't require right now as much resources as these two continents would than we are. But we are close to the United States, and we're like their lost twin brother or sister.
Yeah.
Right.
So
Yeah.
we are catching on to their behaviors, and slowly we're starting to understand that security needs to be amped up, but in what way?
Okay.
So
Okay.
that's
I think it's key because for me, marketing bridges a gap. It's almost that channel of communication for the person who has a need
right.
and the industry or the people that have their want, and it's finding a way for them to meet each other. It's almost like this is why the makeover is necessary, so that you're presentable to the market.
Exactly.
Right. And again, we know this firsthand that there's some amazing people in our industry, but they don't know how to present themselves.
Exactly.
Okay, they have this vast knowledge base as an expert or whatever, and but it kind of just stays with them. So when you do that, I mean, give us an idea. How do you work with someone, and why is it important? Like, why is it important even for you to be able to unearth some of these things? The gems in people or these businesses.
So I've wrote about this a while ago, is because I have an accent. English is my fourth language.
Amazing.
Okay, hold on. What are the languages leading up to English as the fourth?
First one was Russian, then Arabic, French, English, and then I was Mandarin was a hobby.
Okay.
Then Spanish, and now learning Turkish.
Okay.
Oh, hey,
okay.
nice.
So for anyone out there that just has one language, shame on you.
Yeah, shame on you.
Yeah.
You one-dimensional.
Okay.
That's me. Anyways.
It's okay, we still love you.
Yeah.
So I always was bullied for my accent and not sounding like everyone else in school, for instance. And I stopped talking verbally and I started to write. And I really got good at writing in English and expressing myself through words. And I started to post on LinkedIn about 3.5 years ago, and sharing, of course, my apolitical diplomatic opinion and motivational opinion online. And I saw people start to reciprocate and saying that, like, wow, I needed that today, or I didn't know that, or I learned something new. And it kind of made me feel good in a way that, like, I'm able to give a voice to people that didn't have an opportunity to express themselves or were afraid to. And I'm like, if I can be that guinea pig, for lack of a better word, then I would love to give that voice for people. So personal branding allowed me to do that. I didn't know that was what it was when I started off. How it blew up, I would say, it was not my intention or goal. I stayed true to myself, even though a lot of people were not in agreement, still are not in agreement with what I'm trying to do. But I'm giving people a voice, and I know I have silent fans out there that reach out time to time, and they're like, thank you. And as I said, like, a personal brand allows you to do that. And if someone approaches me and they're like, I have this product or I have this service I want to offer and I don't know how to do it, I sit down with them and I'm like, okay, what's your story? And why did you get this, why did you develop this product? Because it took you hours. And try to understand like the nuances of each thing. And then I guide them into how to tell that story.
Okay.
But you tell a story not for yourself, but for the audience.
Absolutely.
And that's where the disconnect is because you tell people what you think you would like want to hear, but your opinion doesn't matter.
Yeah, and it's basically from your point of view, only your side of the table. You say, this is my experience. High level this, experience doing that, whatever, but it doesn't compute. I guess it's a different frequency. You help them find the frequency.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Or their voice.
Yes.
Yeah. That's
Well,
cool.
look, there's a lot of entities in the security industry that operate that obviously maybe don't have a very good, strong representation of brand. Okay, in fact, what they're probably known for is maybe having a very low cost guard, and the translation for that is a negative experience from a client, or it could just be paint drying on the wall.
Yeah,
Would that be
with a subpar image?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Wouldn't it be making challenging? Like, look, when you look at branding for Sentinel, we brand as a high level, high thinking, out of the box company. We are completely out of the norm. We do everything different. We look at the security industry in Canada specific and say, okay, if that's what it is, we want to do this. Okay, and that's our brand. You know what I mean? It's like that's what we've built upon.
I want to throw something in there.
Yeah, go ahead.
We don't even really consider competition. Whenever someone says, what's the competition doing? And we kind of always have blank stares because it's like we're kind of in our element about doing something outside of the box, doing it new.
Right.
We almost look at like everyone in the industry is our friends.
Yeah.
Because they're not competition. It's just like, okay, because they should be, we assume they're doing their thing in their way. And at some point, it's going to be great when we have a chance to work with them.
And and we compliment, just so you know, that we do get a lot of companies, security companies, like the 5 mega companies that do reach out to us so we can provide them supports and help them out because they know, okay, this is not our specialty, this is yours, right? So we've really capitalized that, and branding for us is everything, which is why we tell our people when you're coming out to a job site, make sure you're coming out presenting like it's your wedding day because that's the brand, right? Yeah. However, when you're working with clients, Suzanna, and they want to up their brand, but you can see also that there's no way they're going to match their brand, meaning it's going to be a whole entire smoke and mirror exercise. Like,
oh, interesting.
Yeah,
I see what you mean.
Yeah. How do you contribute to, or do you want to contribute to this? Like, you pretty much just
raise
fairy
your rate.
tale.
Just raise your rate.
Yeah. Like, how do you do that? What I mean is that I'm XYZ security company. I provide a service. Yeah. The service is actually terrible, and
but make me look great.
But make me look great.
Yeah.
Like, how do you work with something like that? Because at the end of the day, what you're almost doing is like you're creating all the back end stories. Let's do this. Let's do that. But it's almost like you're telling the never ending story.
You're selling a shell.
Yeah, you're selling a shell. Yeah.
Right? Yeah.
But then at the end of the day, do they go as far? Because you may not know how deep, but you're also in the industry as well, right? So you get to see everything. Are there challenges that drive you and motivate you, or be like, man, if I do this, it's gonna be difficult. This is a hard one.
This is like $1 million question. It's like drum roll. Everyone wants to know the answer to this. Yeah. Well, first of all, I don't say yes to every client.
Okay.
That's one. It's because my reputation is very dear to me. The quality of work that I do is very dear to me. So I'm not just going to say yes to everything. And that's what I teach my clients as well. I'm like, yes, you have so many opportunities, but don't say yes to everything, because then it's going to be your headache afterwards. It's going to give you revenue, but it's going to be a headache. In regards to understanding like the back end of operations, I've been there. I was an operations manager, guard management, all that. So I get that world. It's very complicated. It's very specific and depending on sites and stuff. But I don't lie.
Okay.
So if I'm not able to relate to a story, if I'm not able to relate to a service or see that they're trying to up not just their marketing, but also up their operations and the way that they look to their clients or the market, then that is something that I can put my name on.
Okay.
If not, then that's just an unfortunate part of it. And
Okay.
when we
Yeah.
had these conversations
Yeah.
before,
Yeah.
because everyone has an agenda.
Right.
Everyone wants to accomplish something, and sometimes it's the right way or the wrong way, but who are we to judge, right? Like, as you said, we have our own trajectory, we have our own goals, and if it doesn't align, they're all friends.
Yes.
Yeah.
But if it doesn't align, then that's not, like, we can't send our energy to that.
No, look, that's
Yeah.
good. Look, that's good. But I think anyone that's listening, just so we can make sure
Yeah.
we're not like skewing this, Suzanna has a very deep passion for this industry,
Yeah.
and she wants to create a change in the industry, which is why she created a service that like massively focused on helping within the industry because she has such a strong backing in the industry. So I want to make sure that's very clear here that we're always trying to level up and raise the bar, right? And what I loved in our conversations was that a lot of stuff that we were talking about was in sync. We want to see things better for the industry, and the better we can challenge it, we're all accountable to each other. If we can be accountable and level up together, it will only be better for Canada.
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
North America. Like,
Yeah.
as we were discussing, it's a free-for-all right now in the industry.
Right.
And I feel like and no one really knows our standards within or outside the industry. So how are we supposed to elevate the industry if we don't even know what we're elevating? And I want people outside the security industry to know what we do. At least let's start with that.
Okay.
We're not just people that sit in condos and buzz people in. We're not just mobile patrols,
Right. Yeah.
or
Construction.
construction
Yeah.
supervisors.
Yeah.
We have so many amazing people in the industry.
Yeah.
We have risk managers, crisis managers, emergency managers, physical security specialists, private investigators, you name it.
Executive protection.
Yeah,
on and on
executive
and on.
protection,
Yeah.
which is something new you've been exposing me to. So
Yeah.
thank you for that. But there's so many things
Yeah.
and possibilities, and no one knows about that.
Right.
You go to a university, no one teaches you about these opportunities, that there's a job out there. It's like you get into the industry by chance.
Right.
I was an ex-cop, I was an ex-firefighter, I was in the military, and now I want to settle, and we go into the corporate of security. But it's an exciting job.
Right.
And so I guess, as you were saying, like, my goal with Evolutes is to help people brand themselves in a way that other markets see that we are a strong industry, that we have a purpose. Yeah, we don't go to school as doctors. Like, you go to medical school, you become a doctor. You go to engineering school, you become an engineer. You don't go to security school and become a security.
Not yet.
Exactly.
Not yet.
Oh.
Not yet.
Yeah.
And so that's my goal, is to help people find their voice
Yes.
and market it outside of the industry. And for people outside of the industry, it's like, oh, now we know what you do. And COVID helped that with us. Like, they saw how behind the scenes operations work and the response and how much time it takes. But I don't think we grasped that opportunity as much as we should have during COVID to push more our purpose.
No, that's good.
Yeah.
That's good.
Yeah. I love the way that you said that you test it with the outside market, with the person who has no idea what security is, isn't,
Exactly.
has no ego, has no other vested interest, no experience. They just, okay. And, I've always found always great joy in kind of breaking down the engineering of security, the strategy of it to someone who doesn't know it, whether it's a new hire here or like a client on site. And if you know the business, it is so intricate,
Yes.
right? And it touches so many things, and it's so valued. I think that's probably the biggest divide that we kind of all share together in this room, is we can really see the value of it.
Yes.
But some people just think it's like, no, I just need a body. Okay, yeah, I
Right.
have this, whatever it is that they're trying to have protection for, and you can fill in the blank. But when it's not valued, it's conversation
It's
sucks.
difficult,
It's
yeah.
very difficult. Yeah. Yeah.
I get it.
No, I'll tell you this. Like, I think what the service that you provide, Susanna, I think it's desperately needed in this industry, because if we're looking at always bringing in more people to come into this industry, and if their references is only going to be like, well, I might get as a condo, or I'll be a guy at that club. If that's where you can kind of really be like, man, there's a whole world that pays well in the private that can open up. I met recently with an executive of one of the top 5 security companies in the world, and he was telling me about what they do, and we were getting deep, and I'm like, oh my God, why don't you guys market this?
Right.
Yeah, why don't you this is so interesting. He's like, well, because we're known for just we're known for just pushing out mass volume low cost guards. That's what they're known for. I'm like, okay, I get that, but what you have on the back end is so strong that it could actually make that guy or girl at home be like, I actually want to jump into security. You know what I mean? And sell that. For us, we look at that as a whole, is like, what could we do to create the experience for someone that it can change your life?
You know what? It's interesting. That's actually, I didn't know that. What's really cool about what you just said is, I think the mistake there is they don't understand maybe the trickle down effect of when they, as a company, say the great things that they're doing,
right?
How it affects someone who's just entry level coming in, right?
Yeah.
It's just thinking,
it's an opportunity.
Yeah, it's just thought of, they're only thinking about the client who just wants to be able to say, I need 500 people,
right,
to support our airport,
right?
Okay, but if those people, if you really value what they bring to the table, inspire them,
right?
Give them a picture, let them have exposure to that division, that department, that I mean, some of these companies, they have operations all over the world. They're billion-dollar companies.
Right.
You have endless opportunities, even just within that one company.
Right.
Or you can just give your availability and say, I can work nights.
Well,
right. Yeah, exactly.
If there's a strong brand, then more people are attracted to it, because it's very hard to retain people right now, especially in the security industry.
Yes.
So if I love that
Yeah.
synchronity.
There was a little like,
yeah.
And if you have a strong brand and a mission, people can relate to that, and they will be proudly wearing your logo. And that is another plus of having a strong brand and promoting that brand and be like, yeah, I work for that company.
Right.
And I'm really proud.
Yeah, I mean, that's the Google effect.
Exactly.
That's all these companies where, it's almost like a badge. It's a badge of honor. Yeah.
No, that's awesome. Well, when you come into the scene, as we said before, we've had conversations about this. It's a very male-dominated scene, okay? How have you navigated around this in the sense of, like, is there acceptance? Are people open? Are people looking at it from a way of like, this is a need? Are they looking at it as like, who are you to qualify and talk? Like,
yeah.
And
if people aren't nice, give us a list offline. Okay.
Yeah. I got you.
Yeah.
And that question's been asked very often, especially lately. Let me give you a backstory a bit. So when I was competing professionally as a rhythmic gymnast, we have about 1:30 on the floor, but you train for 80 hours biweekly for that 1 minute and 30 seconds.
Okay.
And before you go on the carpet to perform, you are on deck and you're waiting for the other gymnast to finish, and then you're going to go and be presented. When you're in that on deck state of mind, your entire body just kind of collapses in a way, and your mental state takes over, and you go into a bubble. And you're just so focused that you don't even hear anything around you.
You're in the zone.
You're in the zone.
Yeah.
I like that.
Yeah.
And then you look to your right, and there's a panel of 15 to 30 judges. And then you look to your left, and there's an audience of 200 people. So then they call on your name, and for that 2 minutes, so by the time you get on the carpet, do your routine and leave, you don't hear anything other than the music starts. You're performing. There's 15 to 30 judges judging every move, what you're wearing, your weight, your apparatus, how uplifted you are on your toes, if your leg is straight, if you're doing the jump properly, and you're judged. Mm-hmm. You make a mistake, you pick it up, you continue. The music doesn't stop. Mm-hmm. And then you finish your routine, you go, you change, and you prepare for the second one. And that is the mentality that I've grown up with for 13 years. So you're asking me how I am with an industry that is male dominated. I see it as the same thing. I come into a room, I'm about to say something, I'm being judged for what I'm wearing, for how I'm conducting myself, for my service product, whatever.
Yeah, if you're up on your toes.
If I'm up on my toes, properly on my heels,
Yeah.
no.
Yeah.
But it's the same mentality. I go in, I don't claim to know everything. I'm a lifelong learner. But I am so used to that feeling of being on deck that I'm just ready to extend my 1 minute and 30 seconds.
Ooh,
Okay.
That's so good.
That is.
That's so good.
And that is how I
Did
approach
you rehearse
it.
this?
Oh, no. No.
No, it's so
That's
But
good.
really
it's
good.
it's
Yeah,
seriously
that's
like
good.
I'm so used to it now, and I think that's what the training was for, to do it. And so I don't get intimidated anymore, I guess, because we're all here trying to achieve the same thing. And if we're not on the same level, then unfortunately we don't have a conversation. And as we spoke before, like to run a business, to talk to people, to network, to provide a quality service takes time and energy. And if there's people around that don't see the value, then it's not my job to make you see the value for yourself. I'm here to provide the education on it. Like, this is how it will be positive. You can look at my brand and this is how it grew and this is what I can provide for you. And these are our success stories. But if all of that is not valued, then thank you very much for your time. But I'm going to put my energy somewhere else.
Yeah.
It always falls back to a Simon Sinek quote.
Perfect. Can I say it this
Yes,
time?
you can say it, Mike. Yes.
Simon Sinek has a great quote. When we heard it, we literally grabbed each other and hugged for 3 minutes.
Oh.
Do you remember that one? And
No.
he said, "Don't do business with people who need what you have. Do business with people who believe what you believe."
Ooh.
And he
Mic
said,
drop.
Yeah.
And he says, after that, everything is so much easier when you find those
I
people.
teared up.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
Because otherwise, you're literally hitting
It's
a wall.
true.
Right?
And that's what I said. Don't say yes to everybody, because
Yeah.
then it will be your headache.
Right. Right.
Yeah.
Now, one thing that you do, and you do well, because you actually publish quite a bit of it, is that you do a lot of networking at many security high-level functions across the world. Okay, and we started doing that a couple of years ago, more into the executive protection. Now, we have done other security things as well, which I find a little bit boring. but
I mean, hey,
yeah,
they need Susanna's help.
they do.
Yeah, my goodness, guys,
they do.
industry, please,
I
not
mean-
another boring conference.
I mean, I'm just gonna say this right now: Blue Line Expo that's coming out in October.
Yeah.
we're gonna do something that no one's ever seen before. Because again, we're not gonna put a little banner in the background of a guy in a uniform.
rhythmic dancing security.
Join us.
Ooh, what do you
yeah,
think?
exactly.
What do you
Yeah,
think?
exactly. Maybe.
Rhythmic gymnastics.
Yeah, but
Oh yeah, sorry. Apologies. It's
Accepted.
way higher
Exactly.
level. Yes.
But I say all this because it's important to get out there and network
Mm-hmm.
and talk to the people. Tell us why you feel it's important, and tell us about some doors that you feel that have opened up. Because I know you've made a lot of contacts.
Okay. I feel like I have a lot of let me open my black book.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I started in the industry, in 2017. However, LinkedIn has been like my main weapon.
I love a weapon.
A weapon,
That's
it
a
is.
great way of saying it.
It
yeah.
is, because it opened so many opportunities if you look for them. So, actually, backstory.
Yeah.
When I was in 2017, early 2017, I was at the hospital doing MRIs and everything, waiting for my results, and they told me to go to the Starbucks across the street. And I'm like, okay. And I go, and everything's packed. It's like lunchtime. And then I'm like looking around, probably looked like a lost puppy. But this gentleman was like, yeah, come here. And okay, so I'm not shy. I'll go,
Yeah.
you know? And I had my journal with me. I was going to like journal. And then he starts a conversation with me and he's like, oh, why are you here? And I explained it to him, but I could hear that he had a French accent.
Okay.
So then I'm like, oh, vous parlez français? And he's like, yeah. And then we start talking.
Yeah.
And he's like, yeah, I'm on my lunch break from my client here at the bank. I'm a risk manager. I'm like, ooh, what's that? And he's like, yeah, I consult for them and I assess, I audit. And I'm like, that's so cool. He asked me about my background and what I was thinking of doing. I was about to graduate with my honors BA in international studies. And he's like, what are you thinking of doing? I'm like, maybe going into University of Toronto for like a master's in global politics, or going to McGill to study law, international law. And he's like, actually, with your type of personality, you should like go into emergency management. And I'm like, okay. He's like, if you're looking to do a master's, he's like, you don't need law. He's like, if you're looking to do a master's, don't like waste it on politics. There's a new program at York, Master's in Disaster Emergency Management. And I'm like, okay. You know, like I write it down. He's like, and if you should go into the security industry and join ASIS. I'm like, okay. Okay, so that's what the guy told me, to join ASIS International.
Okay.
Because they have like good young professional programs.
Right.
And I'm like, okay. I didn't even question it. I'm just like, I went home, I researched everything, and I applied for the master's, and I got in on full scholarship.
Oh, wow.
And then,
oh my goodness.
I know. And then like,
Thank you, Starbucks guy.
Yeah.
Like, what?
Yeah.
and then I, in December, I saw an ad and I like joined all the programs for SIS on LinkedIn, and I saw that they're looking for emergency managers with less than 5 years experience to be on their job analysis team to develop the APP, which is like a lower, like a young professional level for their CPP designation.
Okay.
And I'm like, you know, like I applied, I got in, they flew us into Washington. It was a great experience, people from like around the world to develop this APP. So that was like my first like real exposure. And then in the summer, they were like, for young professionals, write us an essay and we'll fly you to GSX to Las Vegas for September. You know, I took the opportunity.
Yeah.
2 hours, wrote the essay, got selected.
Nice.
And
Wow.
I was just like, wow, like this guy told me to do something. It's like angel numbers, you know, like I
Yeah.
just went, did it, didn't question it. Like that's my trajectory. And then I'll get to your question for the
No, it's
networking.
fine.
This is all
Yeah.
leading up to it.
No, for sure.
And so we're in Vegas, and this is 3.5 months prior to me graduating my master's. So I researched the conference. That's like one of my first major conferences. From like A to Z, I was like, who's going to be there? What company is going to be there? Where I want to work? How I want to work? I'm not going to take anything less than management because I already had 6 years of corporate experience, maybe not in the security industry, but in the other world. Even though people kept telling me, Suzanna, you have to go into the call center and work your way up. Even though I felt like
Sounds exciting.
yeah, but like, I mean, every job is exciting in their own way.
Yeah, you're right.
But I felt like I could offer more, and I'm very stubborn in that regard. So I'm like, nothing less than management. So I'm like, what opportunities are there? I printed about 50 copies of my resume. I made these like little sketchy business cards with my dad. I'm kind of like my name, what languages I speak, and my degrees, and because I was not really associated with anything at that time. And I went into this conference, and I just met people, and I'm like, hi, my name is Suzanna. I'm about to graduate my master's in disaster emergency management. I want to enter the security industry. Here's my resume. Here's my card. Let's talk, like if you're open to it. And there 70% were open, 30% weren't. And those 70% right now are like really good friends of mine.
Wow, that's amazing.
Some of them are clients.
Yeah.
And it's just, that is the power of network. I went in there as like nobody. And I'm like, I really need you to help me. And I would really appreciate it. And I'm going to be loyal to you. And that showed me that like people are open to it. And the people that are open to it, I stuck to them, and they stuck to me. And then the next event, same thing. We meet each other. they introduce me to someone, I introduce them to someone. If some of their people need a job, I introduce them to people that have an opening. And that's the power of network.
Networking is powerful.
Yeah.
So 3 months later, I got a job as an operations manager. And on December 7th, I don't know the date, I keep forgetting it, but let's say December 7th at 8 a.m., I gave in my last master's paper. And at December 7th at 9 a.m., I started my job. So I had like an hour break before like jumping from like academia to full-time job.
Wow.
Now, I don't think it's just the simple, how would you say,
networking.
the act of networking that makes these things happen.
It's not.
There's a huge variable here.
It's you.
And it's you.
Yeah.
Okay, first off, and I'll say this. If there's anyone who wants to take note, it's pretty amazing what you did, because there's a boldness in it. That quote, boldness has power and magic in it. There's a boldness there. Even just to say, I'm just about to finish, and you're ready like onto the next thing. You're ready and making your plan. I think in pictures sometimes, and
Me too.
no one stops really to offer a ride for the guy who's seated on the bench and doing nothing. But if you see someone who is hauling something behind them and they're walking, someone will say, hey, and I always thought, like, if you know where you're going and you just keep going, someone along the way will be like, look, I can't take you all the way, but here's something. Yeah, take my bike.
Right.
Just, I don't need this bike. You take the bike. And you're going to go, where are you going to? Oh, I'm going to Antarctica. Like,
yeah.
And when they meet you, they know that you are going to go there. You eventually are going to go there, because it's the power of that decision. People can pick up on that. So they're going to help you. I mean, it's amazing. I don't think, there's no doubt. As soon as you told me that 70%, I was thinking, I wonder if you're still connected with these people. That was my first thought, thinking like, was that just like 70% in the moment? But if they're like good friends and clients,
like,
that's amazing.
I am so lucky, that they were open to this at that time, 23-year-old girl that is like, hey,
that's amazing.
I really want to do this, and
that's why. I mean, they picked up on it, right? Yeah, so it's not just networking, getting your own little cards and going around and like, hey, call me. I mean, like, we've all been in some social circle where the networking is literally like, it's like a bad cologne, right? It's not tolerable.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So I think kudos to you. I think that's incredible. Yeah.
Now, you mentioned LinkedIn. Okay, now...
my weapon.
Or as some people say, linked.
Yeah, linked. Yeah. LinkedIn. We feel that it's very important that people understand from a professional level that they have a good representation of themselves. When we're talking about branding, it can be in different forms. It can be websites, it can be pictures, videos. But how important is a good LinkedIn profile?
So personal branding.
Yeah, from a personal branding as an individual, because obviously you're a good representation of that. You put regular you put regular information out, which is on a professional level. Which, by the way, side note, for people that are using LinkedIn for a non-professional, like taking pictures of food and putting it up there, or talking about certain elements, like, LinkedIn is a professional platform. Keep it professional. Side note. Anyways.
Yeah. And keep your fancy titles to a minimum.
Oh my goodness.
Right?
Yeah. Everyone's a CEO. Anyways.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
So what's the importance of it?
Yes.
Okay. I've published several articles about that, especially last year. This year, I kind of took more of a corporate focus. But last year, one of the things that I wrote mainly was that no matter who you are, if I Google you, you show up. And I can make my own judgment on it without even meeting you, hearing your voice, or anything. I'm just like, okay, I'll Google you.
Yeah.
Oh, he likes to party here. He likes to eat here. He reviewed this. He posted a photo with that. He worked here.
Alumni of here.
Right. Alumni here. Yeah. Everything's public, right?
Yeah.
And once you start working on your personal brand, those aspects start to overshadow the other ones. So working on your personal brand is not only posting and telling people what you want and taking control of your narrative. It's about also cleaning your past.
Interesting. Okay, yeah.
Right? Because what I did in high school, for instance, is not a representation of me as a professional. And there is opportunities in Google to remove some photos if you prove why. There's specific links, but these it takes time, sometimes months, for some specific photos to be removed from other websites, whatever.
Oh, I wasn't even aware of that. Yeah.
So there are opportunities to do it if you put a case in to Google and they remove it. That way you clean what is seen publicly.
So it's like a tattoo removal.
It is.
Of your image.
Pretty
right?
much.
Yeah.
Well,
And you can
that's what everybody does right now, right? When they have an encounter, they're gonna probably Google your name and find out who is this person.
Exactly. So LinkedIn gives you an opportunity to give you a page where you control what you want people to see and know about you. You don't really leave a room for assumption. So this is my name. This is how I look like. I look like, this is my photo. This is how I want you to view me. This is my experience. This is what I've contributed, what I've learned, my certifications, my education, the languages that I speak. These are the people that were nice to write me a recommendation, to stamp on me that I do know these skills. And these are the people of interest that I follow, which is at the bottom, if we have anything in common, which helps sometimes. Like, if you don't know how to introduce yourself, like, oh, hi, I see you follow Bill Gates. That's cool. Like, tell me more about that. So that also is important to keep up. So why it is important is because if you are interested in hiring me, what are you going to do? You're going to Google me. And if you Google me and you're like, oh, wow, she writes like very bad reviews about her ex-employees. Well, what if we have a disconnect and she says something like that about us? So you also have to think not only how you present, but also who you hire for your personal brand protection, for your corporate brand protection. And so it's each time you tweet, each time you send something, you have to be very careful because you don't know the effects of that. And so LinkedIn is a weapon if you use it properly. But each weapon has a pointy side and the hilt.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's like Hilt International Security.
Right.
We've got a handle.
Right.
But so it's a weapon. If you use it right, you've got the grip. If you use it wrong, you'll get stabbed.
Right.
Yes.
And that's
And no, I think you're right when you say that. I've read people before come on LinkedIn and they're extremely frustrated that they're not getting a job, and they'll start creating like a rant
On LinkedIn, really?
on LinkedIn.
Oh,
yeah.
Oh, wait, one way to attract.
Oh yeah,
you know.
and what they're not realizing is, do you realize what you're saying right now is completely discrediting everything about you?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. Or giving credit to why you didn't get hired.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah. Interesting.
But that's key. So to me, the branding element, the network element, the using the professional profile of LinkedIn, these are all things that you work with.
Yeah, and there's so many resources that are free. Like people assume that I have the purchased LinkedIn. I use the free LinkedIn.
Yes.
I
The
use
premium. You're referring to the premium.
The premium.
Yeah, yeah.
I don't even, like you see, I didn't even know the name.
Yeah, yeah.
Like,
Yeah,
I don't
that's
use the
hilarious.
premium version. I don't use LinkedIn ads. I don't use any ads. And that's where the important part of branding is authenticity, is because if you have something to say and you're saying it properly and inclusively and diplomatically and apolitically, more people have the opportunity to relate to you
Yes.
instead of like,
Versus having your premium account where you hunt people down.
Yeah.
Right?
Exactly.
or you
Yeah.
see who sees you.
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, it's
kind of stalkerish if you think about
Yeah.
it.
No,
eh?
I know. Hey, look, again, I want a little pause on that. Kudos to you because you know how to utilize the tool. You know, there's all this like, man, that's an amazing photo. What camera is that? It's usually the photographer when you understand, you know, what makes a great photo. So that means that no matter what type of tool it is, whatever your resources are, you can make the most of it, right? Yeah.
and you don't need everything.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
we are always on our phones,
Right.
and there's an app that functions very well, like on LinkedIn, and you take a photo. You can write in your notes, edit it. You have Grammarly helping you to like edit if you are not comfortable writing every day. And then you research hashtags. Oh my god, and hashtags are so important too.
Okay, hold on. We need to have a hashtag rant because
Yeah.
we're always at odds about this.
Imagine.
Yeah.
And the next episode we're talking
No, but I
about
mean it's
hashtags.
key. Yeah, give us a little insight on hashtags.
So I did that kind of rant, I would say, in some of my social media TED Talks, is that for instance, when you activate the creative mode on your LinkedIn, you have to put 5 hashtags that represent you. So for me, for instance, I don't know what they are, but I know one of them is entrepreneurship, content creator, security, and 2 more. These hashtags are important because now you have configured your algorithm to push your content into that.
Okay.
So if you are a content creator, and I wrote like security, content creation, and entrepreneurship, and I post about puppies, and a hashtag puppy love and content creation, right?
Yes.
My algorithm is gonna go like this
Right.
Yes.
because
And what for those listening, what Suzanna did was a crossing of arms.
yeah.
Okay.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
For
Yeah.
those,
Yeah.
good.
Yeah.
Yes, the algorithm punishes you,
Right.
Interesting. Yeah.
and it punishes you because you're like, it's like you're in a relationship and you're like, I'm a dog person, and then you get into the relationship and you're like, actually I'm a cat person,
Yeah.
and you're like, but you told me you're a dog person,
Yeah.
Right.
so I'm gonna break up with you
Right.
Yeah.
because you lied to me.
Right.
Did you know this happened to me? Did you look this up?
Really? I'm so sorry. I'm bringing up a trauma.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But that's the thing, right?
Yeah.
So you're telling the algorithm one thing,
Yes.
and you're doing another,
Right.
and then that's why people are like, well, I posted about this, but you posted about it once.
Mm-hmm.
So why am I supposed to trust you that you're going to do something again if you've never done it? So that's why when you post, I don't even know how this conversation started, or what the question
No, this
was.
is
is
good
about-
though. This
yeah.
is so good because it's all about
Hashtags.
Yeah, and how to make things line up for you.
Exactly.
That's
so
what we're talking
if you
about.
want to have a job, if
Yeah.
you want to get a job on LinkedIn,
Yes.
then work on your personal brand. So I know who you are when I look at your LinkedIn. Be like, hi, my name is Constantine.
Yes.
This is my background. This is
Yeah.
what I like. This is how I can contribute. This is my unique value proposition as
Right.
a person.
Right.
This is why I want to do it, how I've done it in the past. And that's a story. Each of these are stories. And this is how I contributed. This is a testimonial. And I'm very passionate about the industry. I know it takes time to get a job. I am patient. I'm working on myself, personal development, growth. And then LinkedIn is like, oh, they're working on something.
Right.
I'm going to pick it up. I'm going to push it out to a more crowd.
Right.
And even if you have 15,000, 20,000 followers, that doesn't matter, by the way. It's because if you don't know how to engage them, then they're useless to you,
Okay.
right? And I'm very picky, and I want to show you something. I'm sorry, people that can't see it. But you really have to look at your statistics. Because if you're posting
So those analytics matter.
oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Like, for instance, here, it says that my impressions are, you'll have to say this number. I don't know how to, in English.
What do you mean you don't know in English?
Well, I'll say it in,
103,841.
and the engagement.
And the engagement is 651.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
and that's for the
within
past 7 days.
7 days.
Right.
And that's how many people interacted with each other on my posts.
Okay. Yes.
And that's very important because sometimes you can get the views, but there's like 3 people on engagement.
Right.
So you're only reaching 3 people.
Right. Right.
And so if you use the hashtags properly, if it matches the hashtags that you put, if your storytelling content matches what you're saying and you're consistent about it, that is your formula.
Okay. And all these
This
things,
is good. This
all
is
these
good.
things can be found out in more detail with
Yeah.
the consultation with Suzanna at Evolutes.
Yeah.
We're not going to give all the trade secrets
Yeah,
here
I
right
know.
now.
Yeah.
But you can 100% use these tools
You can. You
to
know.
leverage yourself.
Do you do personal branding?
Yeah.
This type of coaching for people?
Yeah, we do
Okay.
that. So
Okay.
personal branding, corporate branding, you don't have to be a security professional
Right.
to approach us. Like we specialize now in security, and we've opened up to other markets, word of mouth, and we're very grateful for that. So now we're also in fashion, entertainment, and food.
Okay. I don't want to. I'm trying to be very careful how I say this so that it doesn't kind of pinpoint who it is and what's happening. Like, so some general context.
Okay.
But over the years, we've known people who have not grabbed and utilized the tool from the grip side. Okay, they've stabbed themselves. Okay, right, and not even knowing, and then they go into the next circle and they do it again and they do it again. There is an insecurity about people who work in the security industry. You know, there's a saying that we say is that to do security well, you need to be secure. Okay.
Right.
So if you come from that insecure place, because I didn't get into policing, so I just ended up as a misfit in security. Remember, we're talking about people kind of just randomly end up in this industry.
Right.
If that is maybe the case for the majority, and it's been like that for decades, now we're seeing people really attuned to what's happening with security because of stuff. So, people like yourself, other people that we know that are really good at, I guess, shining a light on the great things that it offers. I say all that for this because I see a huge gap that I think that you could fill. And the huge gap is just people do not know how to present themselves. They really don't. I mean, like, if you sat here and saw what comes in for interviews, we can proudly say that we have some really high caliber people who come in because they respond to the branding. They see the images. They're not photo shoot. If you see any of our images, they weren't a photo shoot. It was our actual training. And I think there's a credibility. And again, to anyone, we know when something's staged. We know now. It doesn't matter what industry.
Experienced.
Yeah, we're all experienced viewers. We're all an experienced audience where we understand you paid X amount of dollars to showcase your best, but is that really you? Okay. I think there's a huge opportunity, maybe let's starting within the security industry, to offer just basic advice here. I don't know if you have an app where people can get the app and you kind of just like how to kill your interview, why your presentation matters.
So.
If you want to be a cop, and I tell like, man, we have people, they come in specifically, this is very close to home. They tell us they want to be a cop. And sometimes we're not happy for every single person who says it because we know that right now they're not in line even with themselves in order to best represent themselves, right?
Yeah.
Okay. And sometimes in the context of our business, we don't have an opportunity to consult, and we do our best to have these conversations to guide them. But someone like yourself, who's literally like third party, like you can come in and kind of give that real truth that they need, and just so that
a reality check.
Exactly. Okay.
And so we had this conversation before, and it's not public knowledge yet, but I guess we can make it public. But at the end of the summer, early fall, we will be launching Evolutes Academy.
Oh, hey.
And that will be focused on exactly what you just said, with a student audience, young seasoned professionals, and entrepreneurship. So we're targeting academia, corporate, and entrepreneurship. Exactly what you said. For students, how to build a resume, how to enter the workforce, how to position yourself, the realities of it. You don't just come out of school with a job, and like how hectic it is. For young or seasoned professionals, the realities of in the corporate world, as we all know, it's not like unicorns and rainbows. You have to have a strategy as well within. And if you are looking into exiting into entrepreneurship, then that's a whole different roller coaster of emotions and expectations, and you wear a billion hats. So I saw another gap, and I'm like, you know what? I really want to help people through courses. And there's also opportunities there to go on like on one-on-one and whatnot.
If needed,
and doing like bigger courses like for a bigger audience, like in the corporate world or just in training for individuals. That is so crucial to have this because I never had that really as a student or as a professional. I was so lucky to have amazing mentors that were willing to give their time and meet me at a coffee shop and entertain my curiosity. But other than that, it's not like you can Google how to become a security manager.
Yeah, exactly.
Or like me and Mark Fulmer, we wrote an article on that, 10 steps on what to consider to become a security manager. And it was like one of a kind of its article because it's not really something that you talk about. Of course, now there's much more, and it's becoming a thing, but
there's no path. No one knows.
No path.
No one knew how.
And we need to create a path, guys, and a standard.
Yeah. At least the advice of like how to stand out. We know you want to stand out. You want to be acknowledged, but you don't want to annoy people, right? You know, you want to find a way through great work to really, in the best way, show through your performance. You know. And again, I say that because we see it a lot. It's just like wasted energy through trying to be busy. And some people put other people down. Putting other people down does not elevate you. Just something like that.
If you have nothing to say, then don't say it. Like, I don't post every day. I post when I have something to say. And if I don't have anything to say, I give a shout out to someone else.
Yeah.
So if... Right, like
that's great.
But you have to,
you share the space basically.
Exactly, and you have to you can't just post one day and not post for a week. The algorithm will punish you.
Mm-hmm.
So that's why I'm like, I know I have to post on a Wednesday.
Okay.
And if I don't have anything to say, if I'm not in the mood, if I have no creative energy, I'm just like, okay, but I can give a shout out to X, Y, and Z and their work. And that's it. Kind of like to keep the algorithm. It's not my best quality work,
Yes.
but I have a formula to follow as well.
For
I have
sure.
a responsibility.
Look, it's all work at the end of the day. I mean,
Absolutely, yeah.
nothing. Whenever we see success stories for anything, it's what was put in to build up to that. It takes time.
Exactly.
So as we slowly close, I want to ask you a question
Okay.
about the industry, the security industry. Okay.
Be brutally honest.
Yes.
Okay.
Oh, boy.
When you see the landscape, and we're going to focus on Canada.
Okay.
If there's one bit of free advice, you're going to get free advice once. What would that be to every decision maker in the industry that can help make the industry better? What would you say?
That's a great question.
Yeah, what would you say?
To the decision maker, those who shape it, right? Those who
Like
shape
the
it.
CEOs, for instance?
Well,
like
yeah,
the head
Those who lead, maybe not even with title. They're
Yeah.
just the ones who
Just
shape
those who
it.
lead.
Those that can make
Yeah.
a difference. Those can actually say, you know what, Susanna, what you're saying here is valid. We're
Oh,
going
yeah,
to
that's a commercial we had.
yeah. We're going to take this and we're going to apply it. What would it be?
Well, in general,
Yes.
to do honest work.
Okay.
Because what work you do will be a reflection of the entire industry.
Okay.
That's one. Two is if you have an opportunity to educate on what you do, and it can help other companies, to share that, because we're not like in competition. Yes, it is a competition.
Yes.
Everyone's trying to make bank.
Be a good neighbor.
Yeah, be a good neighbor. Like
Work together.
work together.
Yes.
But in regards to branding perspective, being biased is try to position yourself in a positive light. If you don't know how to do it, reach out.
Yeah. There you go.
Yeah.
No, but not just to me.
yeah,
Not just
'cause-
to me. Like, reach out. Like,
Yeah.
if you don't know something, try and learn about it.
You just
Okay.
said if you're not positive and you don't know how to be a light, ask for help. Right?
Yeah.
Exactly.
Mike, that's a $1 million question, because I think we're all right now in Canada are trying to figure that out.
Okay.
How to become a force together and not be so divided.
Right.
I think right now we're trying to find a standard that we can all follow. We're trying to create that. We're trying to work as a unit.
Well, I'll tell you this.
Trying to.
No, what you're
Trying
saying right
to.
now,
Yeah, hey.
COVID actually helped create a little bit of that bridge. We saw for the first time in COVID, other security companies, we were one of them, either A, getting help from other companies, or B, providing help
Yeah, some
to
help
others as
and
well.
assistance, yes.
And to me, like, that's always been my motto, is like, let's work together to make something better, right? Because we're all in the same game. And if we can work together, and again, there's ways to do it. How can that be possible? I'm going to charge this. You're going to charge. How is that even possible? It doesn't have to be by the element of the job. It can be just our resources, the way we look at security,
The way we talk about each
hire,
other.
the way we exactly. These
That's
are all
important.
things.
Yeah.
100%.
Yeah.
And I don't like when people, as you say, talk down about someone else to elevate themselves. We all had unique experiences with different individuals and companies. And I just feel like give everyone a chance, talk nice, follow your agenda respectfully. And if you can do something for the industry that is like not for selfish reasons, then do it.
Okay. That's
Yeah.
good.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
amazing.
That's good.
I think when you were kind of saying that, about just that scenario, if you look at it from a poverty mentality, then everyone has to underbid, steal, cheat, lie to try to get business.
Right.
If you look at it with abundance in the same way, if we were all good neighbors and really supported each other, then the value of what we bring as an industry will be, I guess, maybe more prevalent.
Of course.
Maybe it
Absolutely.
will be out there, and if it's out there more, people out, the market will see this is a good thing, and it would mean maybe our industry is 5-10 times larger than it is. Because if it's a larger, then there's way more spoils.
And
within.
more opportunity,
Yes.
right? Like, for instance, if I had a guard management company and I come to you and we became, as we are right now, and I'm like, hey, I have this bigger event and I only have 100 guards, but I need like 150. Can we collaborate?
Right.
And right now you get an opportunity to do that bigger event, to expose yourself to a new client, to have the force to do it, and you're collaborating with another company, providing them exposure, and then one day you'll come to me,
Yeah.
and you'll be like, hey, like, we need like
but it's
specific people that speak this language,
a niche
and you
detail.
have it.
Exactly.
And can you please help us with that? Of course. There you go, my resource. Once again, it's a give and take, but it's done with respect and respecting your resources and time and the way that you conduct business.
You're talking about a community.
Yes.
Be a true community. There's a lot we can learn from
Yeah.
people who work together, right?
That's good.
Yeah.
Amazing. Now, the magic question is, how does somebody find you? If they want to get your services, how do they find you?
Talk to your algorithm.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
We have LinkedIn. I'm on LinkedIn, Suzanna Alsayed. We also have an Evolutes LinkedIn page. Our website is evolutes.com.
Can we get the spelling of it
Yeah,
for those
'cause
that
Evolutes, yeah,
for those
number
aren't
one.
watching?
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
EVOLUTZ.com.
Perfect. And that is how you find Suzanna. And if anybody wants to take their branding to the next level, have a deep, meaningful conversation about pushing forward, this is the way to go. Any other things that you'd like to throw out?
I'd say
Suzanna?
too that even if it's not deep and they're not a big business, and they're that if they just want to kind of get on to the pulse of what you're doing, to check out your content.
Yeah, that'd be
Exactly.
great.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And to add, like, I'm very happy that we have this relationship now, and I'm excited with the exciting things that are coming out
Yeah,
of it. And
Absolutely.
Evolute Academy.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
I didn't. That's amazing.
Yeah.
So good.
Thank you.
Yeah.
And I'm looking forward to the magic that we'll be creating. And cheers to that.
Beautiful.
Okay, nice.
Ladies and gentlemen, Suzanna Alsayed from Evolutes, thank you so much for coming down.
I love that you keep saying her last name because he gets it right.
I
right?
know, he's so proud.
You just keep
Exactly.
one more time.
Thank you. Yeah,
No.
one more time.
I said it one time only. No encore. But I want to really thank you for coming down.
Thank
I
you.
think what you bring is a very big add value to the industry. It's not like it's being pushed out regularly. It's something that I feel has a big need and a want. So thank you for doing this.
Thank you.
I am too very much looking forward to what's going to be in store for the future and how we're going to bring and actually give Canada some exposure to take them to that level. We're going to catch up to you, the U.S.
Yeah.
The rest of we're going to catch
Yeah.
up to you.
It's
Yeah.
exciting.
I mean, we keep talking about working together. Maybe we'll work together to a degree. We'll see, right?
Yeah,
Hey.
Exactly.
A little
What's in
foreshadow.
I know,
A
for
little-
sure.
What's in store?
Okay.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, thank you.
Susanna.
Thank you so
Alsayed.
much.
Sayed.
Thank you so much, Mike. Any last words?
No, just man.
I'm excited.
Today was fun. This was
Yeah.
really cool. Really cool. Thank
Off
you for what you're doing.
script.
Okay.
Yeah, you did great. You
Good.
did great.
Any last words for yourself before we sign off?
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay. Have a fantastic day, everybody. Enjoy the rest of the day.
See ya.
Peace.
This podcast is brought to you by Executive Protection Lifestyle Canada. Make sure to drop by next week and don't forget to subscribe.